We are, of course, Baja Blasting this evening, as is tradition. If you're joining us in the middle of this thing, welcome, welcome. Remember to engage with the algorithm by clicking the things and saying the things so that the internet overlords know that you're here and you like us so that we get more. Because as much as I'd like to say we would accept a sponsorship deal from Taco Bell, that ain't happening if y'all don't help. So tell your friends, tell your wife, they clicking everything out here. Okay. Moving on to Nerdcore 101. We start with a video.
Incinerator, John's gone. In 3 months I am there again. Docs and God, they'll say the Superman's American. I am in the past, future, I am on Mars. I am 99 syllables and 8 bars. The world's smartest man, wealthy by birthright. There's no more of a threat to me than this as smart as Turnlight. Running down my face like a button in the street. A problematic hero, manic for the breed. Only ready for lady, I can hurt but I get. I went to Vietnam and I murdered some kids. Sometimes a comedian tries to video, banging on the media. We protect the post house, no who watches the watchmen? I don't know who watches the watchmen. I don't know who watches the watchmen. I don't know the police in the town move way too slow.
So, if there was any question, those gentlemen are collectively known as the Four-Eyed Horsemen, but each of them have their own prolific singular career outside of that super group, which we will get to in a moment. Pink Guy got an ad break, but was there. Shout out to FASA, original Battletech company, nearly getting their pantsuit off by creators of Macross for ripping a ton of their designs. I believe so, because if I remember correctly, they were the ones that built the original Battletech game and rebranded it. Although I may just be saying that because that does sound familiar, but thank you for the note. I will double check for future presentations because absolutely, that's some great reference. But yeah, so this next bit is Nerdcore 101, a geeky guide to geeky beats from the Grognard Garage. I am very passionate about this genre. I've been exposed to it for 20 years now, at least, and I'm always looking for new artists and stuff by old artists and new projects. It's a blast. So here we go. Of course, like any human wanting a label for a thing, there are outliers and exceptions and things where the Venn diagram crosses over but maybe doesn't necessarily make a whole section large enough. So, of course, there have been nerdy references in rap since the beginning. Biggie Smalls references in Nintendo and Obi-Wan Kenobi and almost the same verse in one of his songs, which were decidedly nerdy topics at the time, and still are, in my opinion. But yeah, some more common artists that people may have heard of are Megan Thee Stallion, Open Mike Eagle, Wu-Tang Clan, comic books, what up, and then of course Post Malone, who bought the One Ring from Magic the Gathering. Huge fucking nerd. We love Posty. And then, of course, some of the crossover / lesser known, more indie artists or artists that I've come across that do nerdy, weird indie raps, but don't necessarily identify as nerdcore or have rejected that label include MC Chris, who some know as MCP Pants from Aqua Teen Hunger Force and other Adult Swim content. MF Doom, huge Rappers who love other rappers love MF Doom. Ridiculous flow, ridiculous rhymes, just an incredible artist taken too soon. Jesse Dangerously out of Halifax, big old white dude who raps like a beast. He doesn't necessarily identify as nerdcore, but he's done a lot of collabs and been on a lot of shows with other people who are undoubtedly nerdcore artists. So I want to shout out him. Yo Eves is a similar boat, young woman who has toured with some of the biggest nerdcore acts ever. You know, just a woman rapping about everything in her life, and as one does, some people are into some nerdy things, and also rap about pretty common things that aren't necessarily nerdy. Excellent stuff. And then of course K-Flay, shout out, who has done collabs with other huge acts such as Evanescence, and has had her own radio play of some of her less rappy songs, but still incredible.
Thank you, ultimate respect due.
He had a dream it would rise up and elevate. Picture the day that we all would get to celebrate. And by creating the term, he was spawning a movement of rappers who had waited the turn to speak about being outcasts and coding and things, rather than controlling the lane, and the flow was insane. My homies assumed that it wasn't real, so a live show blown away by the brother's skill. This wasn't parody, and every single word was emoted with an astounding level of clarity. And then the documentary, which wasn't all complimentary, but I felt the kinship kind of energy. So colorful and lovable, made her own skin feel so comfortable. Nerd rap rose up and it's wonderful, thanks to the MC who fronts the motion.
Put my name up on the wall in all the fame. By the time I'm done, the whole world gon' know the name. Rushmore, put me up on Rushmore. Till I'm up on Rushmore with the ones who changed the game.
Thank you.
So if I were to make a Nerdcore Hip Hop Rushmore, it would definitely include MC Frontalot, MC Lars, YT Cracker, and random Ran/Mega Ran. You'll notice some names here may or may not overlap with some other sections of fairly consistent nerdcore luminaries, but I consider these four some of the most prolific, influential, and guiding artists of the genre from the early days and even into today. Front the most, MC Front a Lot is the OG, the first, was known for, is credited with coining the term. He's been at it since he was rapping over the instrumental parts of 8 tracks and California Bay Area native. What can we say? He may have been living in New York for many years of his active artistry, but he was homegrown in the Bay and is back. He's out here. He does stealth streams of Factorio on occasion and tours on and off. So go check out mcfrontalot.com. Follow him on socials. Go see a Frontalot show. It's a blast. Rapped about toilet paper on Sesame Street. That's a great video. Go find it. I believe I have a clip of him here.
Bright-colored robotic space rhinoceri that we pilot. Why? Cause they're in survive. Plus we heed the cry of our planet's population to defend them. We report to battle stations, split screen ready, and our rhinos are rocket ships with fully articulated tusk jaws and hips. They come equipped with individual special attacks, none with a lag, but a couple a little bit slack. I'm not naming any pilot specifically, but we're all color-coded, so you notice that typically I, in the goal, lead the charge, do the most damage to whatever very giant space invader managed to threaten the globe in yet another of our episodes. This week, malevolent galactic nematode already beat up the squad when we faced him. I'm calling it, let's form a giant robot and waste him. Monster misbehaving, planets needing saving, situations graven, I'll form the head. The enemy is clever, we're smaller but whatever. When we put it together, I'll form the head. Y'all could do the treading, swing energy machete. If combination's ready, I'll form the head. I'll form the head. I'll form the head. I'll form the head. I'll form the head.
It's 3 a.m. sipping on a bowl and chewing on pizza. Keeping these ways down, nerd like preacher. I know where it's load up, pleased to meet ya. Who's the Buccaneer with the gangster features? Yeah, that's me, that's a nerd like creature. I'll delete ya. Coming on my internet, disrespecting, please, I'll leech ya.
So if MC Frontalot is the godfather of nerdcore, our first king was Whitey Cracker. Out of Colorado, this dude was into every form of nerdery, even the illicit ones, and as listed here is infamous for having a hack with NASA, part of Spam Tech crew, part of spam email schemes. Whitey Cracker lives that nerdy gangster life. Well, he did. As far as how much he needs to now, I don't know. But he still stays connected to those roots undoubtedly, as he does perform at HackerCon fairly regularly out in Vegas when it's out there. And as mentioned here, you can currently find him spinning on tables at various EDM and Tech Expo stuff like HackerCon. He's got albums named Digital Gangster, and some of the earliest video game sampled music with raps over them, distributed through various BBS boards, were Whitey Cracker records, and definitely helped build that sort of legitimate gangster edge to an otherwise genre saturated with derpy white dudes who live in their mom's basement. He may be still that, but also was accomplishing wild things on the internet that got national recognition. So I don't mention MC Lars or Random in the next couple slides because they come up later. Some of that first wave, though, of those early days involves some pretty prolific artists listed here, but have no longer been active. Or, in the case of Rhyme Torrents, was an original website that would take any any submission for raps, for hip hop, put them into compilations, and put them out. It was basically now that's what I call Nerdcore Hip Hop collection album with virtually no content quality control. There were absolute bangers and absolute stinkers on these albums. I have several saved on my hard drive, and there are some names I just will not mention because of how much I hope they chose to pursue another career or got better. Like if some of them got better, hell yeah, I'll give it another listen. But at the time of distribution, no, please no, stop. But yeah, MC Hawkins was someone from Berkeley with a voice modulator that would put in text, and some of that stuff was very graphic because of the ridiculous juxtaposition of MC Hawking being a hardcore gangster rapper. And allegedly it was presented to him at one point and he thought it was funny, but that's just an anecdote. I don't know for sure. It was a multi-gender experience. Nurse Hella was on the scene in the early days. Futuristic sex robots. I'll never say nerdcore hip hop is not about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because that was undoubtedly part of the milieu and still continues to be topics popular for some artists, but it isn't the only topics, because who doesn't mind some variety and arguing about the potential prowess of one particular one particular synthetic human on Star Trek, played by Brent Spiner. And then Optimus Rhyme. Oh man, I miss Optimus Rhyme, and I wasn't even there when they were still active, but it was like a garage band hip hop setup. So you had incredible guitar and bass being played live, along with live drums, and then Wheelie Cyberman, the frontman, with an incredible flow. Holy smokes! He was still active for a bit with a different project called Supercommuter I mentioned later, but I haven't heard anything from him recently, which is sad for me, because as far as a lyricist who can execute on lyrical gymnastics, top 10, top 5, incredible. So that was sort of the late 2000s, 2000 to 2009 was sort of what I was talking about as far as like when things first started percolating. And then in the early to mid 2010s, it started getting much more traction. The internet was evolving, and people distributing these things more readily meant that a larger group of people were exposed to it and becoming voracious for it, which meant there were documentaries, there were large tours, and this sort of gave the rise to that second gen of artists who were also jumping in and expressing themselves, either because they'd been doing it before and now had a larger audience, or were inspired by that first batch and also putting out their own. I have, in the original version of this, I have the 2 trailers embedded, but for this, I'm going to share them off of YouTube. So first, we'll talk about Nerdcore Rising.
Nerdcore is a sign of the times. It couldn't have existed 10 years ago.
There always has been a smart side of hip-hop.
Now, kids, we're heading towards the first gig on the Nerdcore Rising tour of MC Frontalot.
Oh man, I try to dodge fans, but they keep swarming. Frontalot's hard too. Let's have a housewarming. I love you so damn much. I sell you CDs. I'm greedy to get loved back like Ali Sheedy in
MC Frontalot is the nerd chorus of the core.
MC Frontalot is the grandfather of Nerdcore Hip Hop.
MC Frontalot rocks.
I think if there were no internet, there'd be no MC Frontalot.
Frontalot raps about all the things I care about, like Magic the Gathering and internet porn addiction.
Holy shit! It's MC Frontalot!
MC Frontalot, the arch criminal for some reason not sought by authorities. The bar been running wild for days.
So I've got a couple of goals for the tour. One of them is to get Gabi hard drinking. Brandon, we're gonna bump up the heroin. And Sturgis, we're gonna keep chock full of breakfast bars.
You got on the same page as X-Men? And you're even bigger than X-Men.
Listen, I tell you, that Frontalot is incredible. Even recommended to rock the mic like instead of a silent.
Well, how would you describe nerdcore hip hop?
Well, it's kind of like regular hip hop, except with the word nerdcore in front of it.
Nerdcore Hip Hop is the soundtrack to my life.
That's sort of like the Bill Gates going fucking hip hop, you know?
It's ostensibly the ironic juxtaposition of 2 very disparate cultures.
Hip-hop grew up to be the essence of cool. This nerdcore prides itself on not being that.
Nerdcore! If you're honest and reflect your real life, that's hip-hop.
I bet rappers wouldn't think much of nerdcore. They won't take it seriously until somebody breaks through.
It's actually going back to originally what I think hip-hop is all about, and that's really to be yourself and talk about what you're into. To me, that's true hip-hop.
I think nerdcore is actually a little bit racist.
I think it's a valid genre.
Be careful with your own stereotype. It could become a prison.
I can do this at the cost of everything.
As long as there are nerds, there will be Nerdcore.
Nerdcore's rising.
Nerdcore could rise up, it could get elevated. Thank you.
Look, I'm having no more of this.
What? No, I'm having no more of this.
No, you're not here.
No, I'm telling you, I'm having no more of this. The rest
Eat a
is for
hot
you.
dog.
No, I couldn't eat another bite.
I thought I unmuted. There we go. Sorry. Nerdcore Rising is a perfectly good movie. Perfectly good documentary. Won a bunch of awards. And the director, producer, filmographer, etc. Negin Farsad is a hilarious woman activist. She's on TikTok. Go give her a follow. And it follows MC Frontalot's national tour from New York all the way across the country to their big show at PAX Prime, back when there was only one in Seattle. Has a fairly sort of inspiring tone to it. And it looks like you can watch the whole thing on YouTube, or if you want to borrow it, let me know. Who knows? I wonder if a library has it. Support your local library. There was another documentary at that time, though, Nerdcore for Life, and that one definitely spoke more to the indie edge and struggle of small musical artists in a very unique subgenre. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard out there for a pimp, but it's even harder out there for a nerd. Us nerds are the oppressed and the downtrodden. You know, overlooked at high school dances, shunned at cafeteria lunch tables, picked last in dodgeball, beat up and spit on and wedgied and ridiculed in gym class locker rooms across the globe. But you know what? We're not gonna fucking take it anymore.
Life sucks. Just continuous disappointments, and it won't get no better with sobs, screams, or ointments. Just the kind of thing that's gonna fester and
I would explain nerdcore to someone as geek rap, nerd rap, as rappers who rap about video games, computers, technology, stuff like that.
You can be yourself and still like rap. Rap isn't exclusively about shooting people or being a gangster. It's about, rhythm and flow, and about, beats, and it's about good stuff. I'm not trying to be or make fun of mainstream hip hop now. I mean, we're not a parody.
It's really definitely an expression of kind of like, I don't give a fuck, right? I'm just gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. I mean, if you think about how gangster rap, it's like, I'm gonna rap about my life.
Nerdcore is fun. It's about whatever the hell you want it to be about. That's the difference between regular rap and nerdcore.
Here's a little story that I got to tell about 4 young hobbits you know so well.
For anyone who's read The Lord of the Rings, you'll know that J.R. Tolkien fills the stories with rhyming. But that's a really important part of how he tells the story. So it's sort of natural when you have that rhyming to just set it to a beat and make hip-hop out of it.
My beats feed into the neutron star.
The idea of Stephen Hawking rapping in itself, that's funny. But then you add kind of the ridiculous upon the ridiculous upon the ridiculous. And to me, that's really funny.
Nerdcore life ain't simple.
Bishojos, this is a Japanese word for pretty girls. And I use this again and again because it's my way of having that kind of rap thing of being all about the ladies, but in an incredibly otaku-centric fashion.
I love nerds. I love nerds.
I'm just some fucking dude. Who the fuck cares, what I have to say. But if you have your, character, then it's like, even when you play D&D, you don't play as yourself, you make a character, you invent a character. You roll the dice to decide like what your MCing level is, you might get a 3 and you can't rap, or you might have an 18, and then you'd be a great rapper.
In my time, I seen empires crumble. In my time, I seen Snape kill Dumble. In my time, I seen fools next stumble. In my time, I seen loud go humble. In my time, I seen bubbles burst. And in my time, I seen Hubble's cursed. In my time, I seen trouble hurts. And in my time, I've been through worse. Big smile and programming their hand in these fans with unbeatable jams, and let's face it, I'm visually basic. Hand me a website.
You're gonna hear people rapping about comic books, video games, role-playing, non-deterministic finite automata. But we all got one thing in common, and that's that we're all trying to preach the gospel of nerd empowerment. We're trying to spread that nerd pride, spread that nerd love.
Nerdcore is great. It's gonna fucking blow up and shit, and we're gonna be rich as hell. I'm gonna play diamond video games. I'm gonna have an arcade that is made out of gold.
If you're doing nerdcore and you really want to become famous out of it, it's just not gonna happen.
In the 20s, we had women's lib. In the 60s, it was civil rights. In the 90s, gay pride. And in the new millennium, bitches better fear the nerd revolution.
Yo, throw up your hands if you like this music. Podcast
So yeah, I think you may have clocked the definite tonal shift and general production value. Not it's good. It's solid. It does its job, and it definitely tries to dig in on what the culture is about, and where the genre is and where it's going. A lot of stuff that Nerdcore Rising doesn't necessarily um uh dig around in, but just sort of like passes over or alludes to. So, I have a copy of that as well. I don't know where it can be watched on the internet. So if you know me in real life and you think I'll trust you with a copy, let me know. Or maybe I'll do a screening somewhere. That'd be cool. So yeah, also fascinating. And then it reminded me, there was a couple artists that I don't have on these slides, like Dr. Popular. He's a San Francisco dude. He was the one with the yo-yos. He makes zines. He's just a huge nerd here in the Bay. Hasn't put out any music recently that I'm aware of. And then, a lot of other, solid artists on the scene at the time were in that video, and many of them have fallen off. And it's, the nerd rap isn't going to pay your bills for most, I don't think it even does so for like the 4 OGs, but it's definitely, music is art, and not every artist lives off their art. So that's where it is. So some of those rappers we saw in both of these, who are nerdcore, include Zealous One, Mad Hatter, Emergency Pizza Party, or EPP, which was composed of MC Rections, Betty Rebel, Benjamin Bear, and MC Router. MC Router was the one with the Geek Life tattoo and the sort of like scratchy tonal throat thing going on. Her raps are fascinating to listen to. They didn't really grab me, but they are unique, much like other musical artists who have a different tonal voice, which is part of the appeal. Very interesting. Some people who are still active, Beefy, the big guy who was fairly articulate in that video and did the Nerdcore for Life song, in the Nerdcore for Life trailer. He's still putting out music as far as I know. He's up in the Pacific Northwest, I think Seattle. He's very popular with other nerdcore rappers. Great technical skill, excellent flow. A lot of his stuff doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't grab me so much, but I do my best to recognize when there's game, so to speak. So that's why I wanted to make sure I give him his kudos there. Dual Core, I want to say they're a Bay Area group. They occasionally put out things several years out. It's usually just a duo, but I have met one half of them at a show in San Francisco at the DNA Lounge. Very, very tech-centric raps. Ultra Klystron, another Pacific Northwest dude. Big scene in the vibe from Seattle. Surprise. Definitely produced a lot of this crop. He's pretty prolific on his output. There's a lot of Ultra Klystron music in the world. I would say that it's definitely a lot of output versus what I would call quality. It sounds technically good. It's got good production quality or production value. And maybe it's just because he's experimenting and he's putting out his stuff. It just doesn't resonate with me, but I try to put on several artists that, even though I may not listen to their stuff all the time, I wanted to make sure they were acknowledged because they're part of the scene. STD, Schaefer, the Dark Lord. We'll learn more about him, but he has been around for a long, long while and continues to put out content to this day. Rai Kamashiro. She was putting out a ton of Japanese nerdcore hip hop with like super cutesy kawaii sound clips and sort of really put the otaku in Shame of the Otaku. Literally, she does the Japanese voiceover for that collab with MC Frontalot, and then just dropped off the map, as many of these artists do. Dark Popular, the Yo-Yos, former Fat Boys. They're definitely an OG group. They haven't put out anything new that I'm aware of. what I refer to as the late Renaissance is like the late 10s into the early, the mid to late 2010s. Nerdcore Now was a website that tried to be a better Rhyme Torrents. There was forums, and they did a semi-regular like VPC, Vocalist Producer Challenge, where they would have these collabs of various people in the community submit music collabs. It would get filtered and put out into compilations. Some really excellent pieces came out of that era, but again, didn't have the steam. The community fell apart. Whatever moderator had real life shit going on, and now it's dead as far as I'm aware. And I haven't found anywhere that really keeps its finger on the pulse anymore like that. There are, of course, other creators and content people that try to keep up with this stuff, but none that I've found that I've clung to. But some of these artists are some that I would say are really good, and I continue to listen to even today, including Adam Warrock. Hipster Please was a website that just did music in general, but often covered nerdcore hip hop. Again, kind of died as a website, but I think on the Wayback Machine you can still access a bunch of it. Death Star, big swings on hit or miss of what I love on them. I have a few of their songs that I just will listen to day after day, and a few of them just are not where I like. Thought Criminals were solid. Soup or Villains are the guys in the top, and they have an incredible roster, incredible discography, tons of fun. Adam Warrock is the gentleman in front of the Akira slide right there. Billy the Fridge. I maybe shouldn't have him on here. He shows up in a lot of nerdcore hip hop references or like compilations, what have you. But again, Seattle dude rapping about just being a big drunk fat dumb guy out in the world, but incredible beats, incredible flow, great production value. So I want to make sure he gets the shout out there. Dr. Awkward, the gentleman in the purple there, really resonated. Out of Southern California, grew up with a bunch of other artists, and just has incredible music production, incredible raps, incredible rhymes. Has fallen off in recent years, so not much out of him. Torrents, I don't remember anything about. Mikhail Cahill, lots of collabs, excellent production value, good stuff. Samus, she is similar to Yo Eves in that there's a lot of nerdy rapping she does, and will acknowledge has gone with a lot of nerdcore artists. Obviously, the name. I haven't seen anything put out by her recently, but she was active a few years back. Kabuto the Python. If you ever see a nerdcore rapper with a Guy Fawkes mask wearing a shirt with a giant like snake or lizard or something on it rapping, and he sounds like this, it's probably Kabuto the Python. I don't know if he does a voice mod or if that's a voice he does, but he's pretty ridiculous because he likes to subvert expectations, especially in the nerdcore space. Blew up for like 5 years straight and then disappeared. And then Milk Plus was a UK-based nerdcore hip-hop rapper with some really funky, fresh, different sounding flows, who was definitely featured in like Nerdcore Now back when it was still running. Last time I did this panel was pre-pandemic, and at the time of creating this slide deck, all these artists were putting out content that year. Word Burglar, Klopfenpop, Ultra Klystron, and Megaran / Random, as well as Game Boy Jones. Today, it's mostly just Megaran and Game Boy Jones, because Game Boy Jones is a much more recent artist to enter the scene. But I definitely recommend checking out any of Word Burglar's music, any of Klopfenpop's music. Excellent sort of beats and rhymes and content. All good stuff there. I'll talk about Megaran a little more in another slide. Well, in case I don't. Teacher Rapper Hero, I believe, was one of his albums, because he's an educator out of Texas, and his Mega Man album gained so much traction, popularity across the internet that he's even had deals with Sega for doing music and has toured quite a bit. And he most recently put out an album for children with a song about loving fruit instead of candy. A consummate dude. Check him out on socials. He does streams regularly. Excellent stuff. And then Game Boy Jones, he's definitely tuned in to the modern social media cycle, putting out shorts and stuff, and has done songs about all kinds of modern anime, typically anime, like this one.
The man that I used to be, had to trade that life like Lucas team, but I still got the juice, no lucid dream. Used to ride around like doo 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 doo. Shoot around, I'm a hooper G. When you see them shells in the Cooperling, you thought you'd win when I shoot the breeze. Put a press on my head, you can double it up and nobody will get it to tax. Everyone in with the front of the building, if you competition, you know where I'm at. See what's in store if you step on my property. If you approach and you walking off wobbly, better not mess if you got a good luck on me. Fuck with the family, you might lose your body. Wait, whoa.
There we go. For some reason, I'm having trouble unmuting this thing, so I'm afraid we might have missed a bit. But yeah, Game Boy Jones, tons of fun. Give him a follow. Check him out on YouTube. Check out his discography. Good stuff. Again, when I originally built this out, some of these people were still very active. Some were not. Shout out to Bill Beats, who is a producer who makes a lot of background music for rappers. I've never heard him rap himself, but similar to one of the guys in the first trailer, Nerdcore Rising, Bad Spella, are fairly prolific, fairly well-known beat makers in the nerdcore hip hop space. He's there in a photo shoot with Shubzilla, another strong female rapper, again from the Pacific Northwest, if I remember correctly. Again, like I said, to Seattle. Who knew? Of course. I don't think she's toured recently, but definitely shows up at random shows here and there, does collabs, and had an album out several years back. Daylight, similarly, was putting out a lot of nerdy raps. I haven't seen anything from her recently, but that doesn't mean she hasn't put it out. I just haven't double checked. General Vega Army, big on social media for a while. The algorithm hasn't shown him to me recently. I don't know if he's still super active. Richie Branson is another of my favorites. Just straight out putting it out there. He helped found Otaku Gang, which is why the arrows there, with Grayson. Grayson, of course, as the name might imply, lots of DC raps. So fun stuff there. Love it. Down in the corner there, one of the OGs, MC Lars from the Bay, cause rocking the A's. Degree from Berkeley. Him and Schaefer the Dark Lord to the right just put out an album last year, the year before, called 333, which is a spooky album based on Disney properties. Love this genre. But also, Schaefer, being a East Coast New York lad, has done a few collabs with the Lexicon artist, who moved out there, I believe, just pre-pandemic. But again, she's actually originally a Bay gal with a psych degree from Berkeley. So interesting. The Venn diagrams, whenever I write my dissertation on this, I'm definitely going to be like, there's some hot spots. But yeah, we're going to enjoy a little duo from Schaefer and Lex next.
You are standing in the presence of greatness. Take a chair, I got you. I, the world's greatest psychic, Reagan Arataka, am here to save you from your spirits and such. Unbelievably powerful and just fearless enough. I am idolized by espers, mocked by skeptic adults. Call me a phony, a fraud, all you want, but check my results. I've cured a one-click curse with my sorcery crush. Defeated a biker boss with my vanishing soul punch. This is but one of my many special attacks. I'm a pro with the kind of confidence. I'm packing stacks, and I got a secret weapon that'll solve any job. A validly talented adolescent named Mom. Sure, I overwork him and I call him an idiot, but I care for the kid. At least that bit is legitimate. Yes, my greatest gift's the difference that a mentor can make, and not successfully selling suckers the oil of a snake. I'm the world's greatest psychic,
and I'm a sidekick,
providing exorcisms at competitive prices.
He's a self-proclaimed genius,
nary a known weakness,
but all of his clients find his abilities specious.
I'm a silver-tongued devil.
Are my powers not special?
You'll be so crazy strong you'll melt things when you get to my level.
Okay, if you say so.
Cheeseburger tornado!
I make a couple bucks an hour taking most of his caseload. Going to school, acting a fool in front of all the girls. Damn, wanna be cool, but follow the rules and watch my life unfurl. Gotta be fit, I go to the gym, it makes me wanna hurl. But I got a job and I got a boss, the best in all the world. Yeah, that's right, I'm a part-time employee for a manager I find only slightly annoying. I get paid minimum wage for the spirits I eradicate. Some people never get that even after they graduate. He validates my talent when he lets me assist, although I know my expertise is only second to his. It's the outlet for my powers that I've missed, and if you resist my massive psycho wave, you're getting decked by his fist. We're an epic team, getting rid of monsters in your closet, though I wish he'd let me add an extra chashu to my ramen. You can say it's unethical, what we sell is corrupt, but hey, I'd rather go to work than do telepathy club.
Right. I put those slides in the wrong order previously, so that's why I was like, go forward, go back. Okay. So yeah, that was Schaefer the Dark Lord and Lex the Lexicon Artist rapping as Reagan Ayataka and Mob of Mob 101. I watched the first season, absolute blast, and then it's just so good, so good. So this is the bonus lightning round of, oh wait, I didn't add these at the last minute, so I had to like slap this slide in before I submitted it. Kadesh Flow, also a sort of an OG, definitely a fixture on the scene for the last decade or two. Charlie Curtis Beard is a newer one that I've come across, was a name I've come across more recently, but has contributed here and there. Nerd Night Productions is a SoCal collective of nerdcore artists. They put out a few things here and there. I heard about them last year. Don't know how active they are in the scene where they are locally, and so in Los Angeles, but wanted to make sure they got out there. Tribe One, another rapper in the nerdcore scene, also been a fixture for a while. Daddy Fat Snaps was one I heard about only this year, and some of the stuff is fun. I haven't listened to too much of his catalog, so take that as you will. Same with Fable. I want to say Fable actually has connections to Grayson as far as collabs, Rustage and Schwabadi, and also Longest Solo Ever. They all seem to be part of a newer crop here post-pandemic that are putting out content on like Spotify, and we're even at a Nerdcore like expo in New York this last year or two, where most of them headlined it together as one sort of nerdcore concert. So definitely a newer crop I need to do more research on, but I wanted to make sure they were here for posterity, for reference. So yeah. And then once again, another list of those who have moved on, or at least as far as I am aware: Sky Blue, Watsky, Louis Capone, Zamir, Too Mellow, Dam Celine, Messiah Carey, and K Murdoch. All of them I've either seen like one hit wonder flavor or collabs with other artists that, were noticeable or were super fun or had a great flow of their 8 bars that they contributed that don't have a larger catalog that I've been able to dig into or was able to locate. So I believe that's it for Nerdcore 101, and who knows, maybe at the next con I get to put this up at, I'll have it even more fleshed out. But that was the 2 panels that we had at YumeCon, and this was special Wednesday main stream edition. So let me change the category on our stream one more time. and we'll get back to Breath of the Wild for the next 45 minutes. Breath Wild. There we go. Breath of the Wild. All right, close that out. Close that out. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good. Thank you. Pull back. Pull the capture card back up. Very interesting and informative. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to show clips of the VOD to friends. Feel free to grab clips of the YouTube when I put it up to do similar things. And, tell your friends, tell your wife, and hit us up on socials. And, if you're in the Discord, let us know what you want to chat about there. I am a big fan of all these things, and that's why I made sure to do my best to curate this information for the larger world for those willing to engage with it. But yeah,